Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultan of Oman television. First, the headlines. The Oman CEO's Forum discusses the strategic planning and restructuring in Muscat. The Gulf Autism Conference calls for joint Gulf strategy to qualify the parents. And in line with the economy transformation in green energy field, the Oman Hydrogen Center is launched.
يا أبناء عمان الطاهرة في كل مكان، يا جنودها البواسل في كل ميدان، استعدوا بارك الله فيكم لمواصلة المسيرة بكل عزم وإصرار وقوة ومضاء. فعمان بحاجة إلى المزيد من البذل والعطاء والتضحية والفداء والعمل الجاد المثمر البناء.
Those are the headlines, now the news in detail. On the 30th of July 1970, Oman is crowded nearby Beit al-Alam in Muscat, welcoming His Majesty the late Sultan Qaboos bin Said. May his soul rest in peace. The late Sultan gave an order in 1972 to rebuild Beit al-Alam and was given a new name, Al-Alam Palace, in which he gave audience to the kings and presidents visiting the Sultanate on a high-level protocol. Beit al-Alam was the place of residence of late Sultan's father, Said bin Taimur, and his grandfather, Taimur bin Faisal. Upon his arrival, His Majesty the late Sultan Qaboos bin Said spoke to his people through radio that yesterday was very dark and tomorrow a new dawn will rise on Oman. The late Sultan also received his people in Al-Alam Palace, which reflects the humility of the builder of the Omani Renaissance. May his soul rest in peace. In Al-Alam Palace, His Majesty the late Sultan received high-ranking official guests like Queen Elizabeth II in 1979, the Queen of Netherlands, and the King of Spain, Juan Carlos I, to name a few, and many more other leaders.
فيا أبناء عمان الطاهرة في كل مكان، يا جنودها البواسل في كل ميدان، استعدوا بارك الله فيكم لمواصلة المسيرة بكل عزم وإصرار وقوة ومضاء. فعمان بحاجة إلى المزيد من البذل والعطاء والتضحية والفداء والعمل الجاد المثمر البناء.
His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, convened a meeting to discuss the Sultanate preparations for the novel coronavirus. More details in the following report by Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubai.
The Minister of Health continuing developing the preparations plans to enhance the readiness of health institutions to handle any suspected cases with novel coronavirus. Further discussions was held in the meeting chaired by His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, to discuss the Sultanate preparedness for the novel coronavirus outbreak at the Directorate General of the Diseases Surveillance and Control. The meeting discussed the public health plan, particularly the preparations and procedures used to examine the arrivals coming from the novel coronavirus infected areas in the airports and ports of the Sultanate. In addition, the meeting discussed the preparations of the hospitals and healthcare institutions to address any suspected cases of novel coronavirus, as well as the provision of the laboratory fluids and reagents in the Central Public Health Laboratory. The meeting attended by the Undersecretary of the Ministry of Health for Health Affairs, along with the members of the Central Committee for Public Health Emergency. The Minister of Health urges all citizens and residents to take the information through the formal statements issued by the Ministry and communicate with the Ministry via the Ministry of Health Contact Center, telephone number 24441999.
With regard to the coronavirus, our colleague Abdullah Rubai conducted an interview with Dr. Saif Al-Abri, Director General of Disease Surveillance and Control.
With us here in the studio is Dr. Saif Al-Abri, who is the Director General of Disease Surveillance and Control. Dr. Al-Abri, a very good evening to you and welcome to our studio here. We would like you to brief us, or to brief the audience on the situation of coronavirus here in the Sultanate of Oman.
So far, we don't have any single case of the 2019 novel coronavirus that has been diagnosed recently in the Republic of China.
Yes.
However, the coronavirus as a coronavirus is very well known, and it's part of the viruses that causes respiratory illnesses. This is a novel coronavirus because it can be severe and it can spread from human to human. This is the third one of the novel coronaviruses. So we had the first one, which is the SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome, followed by the MERS coronavirus, which is the Middle East respiratory viral syndrome, which we had cases in the past from the MERS coronavirus. And this is the third one, which is the other third novel coronavirus. But there are no cases whether in Oman or in the GCC countries, and in fact there are no cases within the Middle East.
Right. Now, if you can tell us, what is exactly coronavirus? How do you define, and what are the signs and symptoms of the coronavirus?
Coronaviruses can cause respiratory illnesses, whether it's like, it can start from mild flu and coryza up to severe lung infections that can cause death. Like people can go into the intensive care unit and die. So for the novel coronavirus, most of the symptoms are of the lower respiratory tract infections, which is mainly comes as fever, cough, and shortness of breath, difficulty in breathing, and then it can progress into severe respiratory illness or respiratory failure.
Now, if someone is suspected to have coronavirus, what that individual has got to do? What measures he needs to take?
Sure. I mean, right now, all the cases, I mean, coronavirus is diagnosed now in almost 15 countries, including China. And all the cases diagnosed outside China originally were from Wuhan province in China. They have visited there somehow. So most of the transmission is human to human transmission, or we don't know yet from where, but maybe animal to human, and then it's sustained human to human transmission. So if someone has visited an area where there is novel coronavirus, whether it's in China or maybe in a hospital where the virus has been diagnosed in another country, the most important thing is to identify himself, to say that I've been to.
Even that person, he is not having any signs and symptoms, he has to report just because he has visited that particular place? Or
at this stage where, for example, if someone has come from abroad, then he needs to identify himself to the airport authorities. We have a system now in the airport, so they need to identify themselves there that he came from China. And now we have a self-declaration form in all the flights coming into the country. So people, we advise them to declare that they have been to China in the last 2 weeks, and then they will be recognized in the airport. So if they have no symptoms at all, they will go home, but then we'll keep contacting them. If they have symptoms, then there's a procedure of how to deal with such patients. But like the main thing is recognition, infection prevention and control, and then if someone really knows that, then he can use a mask so that to protect others from from infecting them.
So these are the measures that the Ministry of Health have taken actually towards detecting these particular cases at the airports, ports, and other areas. But what are the preparation now? Other preparation the ministry has actually to deal with, for example, transferring these particular cases from one place to probably to the center?
Sure. So in the airports or in the ports in general, Once we identify that someone has come from China at this stage, or maybe in the future, this is very dynamic from any other country that is labeled that it's novel coronavirus is endemic there, they will be identified, they will be followed up. If they are sick, then they will be taken. We have a clear pathway of how to deal with such people without interfering with their truffles. Okay, we have worked along with the Public Authority for Civil Aviation, with the Oman Airports Company, with the Royal Oman Police, of how to deal with them in the airports, for example. And then they may go to the community, they may go to their own houses, but we have identified, for example, if someone is sick, then he will be taken to one of our healthcare facilities.
Well, Dr. Saif Al-Abri, thank you very much for briefing us on the situation of coronavirus elsewhere, but also the situation in Oman that is clear. We hope it will remain clear, but the preparations have been done, and we wish you all the best.
The Oman CEOs Forum started today at the Oman Conventions and Exhibitions Center. The forum is organized by the Oman Academic for Small and Medium Enterprises affiliated to INMA Fund. Saleh bin Khalfan Rahbi has more details in the following report.
To enhance self-capabilities of chief executive officers, Oman CEOs Forum began today under the theme Together Towards Excellence and Sustainability, focusing on key themes including building strategies and restructuring organizations.
I am really happy today to see that Tom Oliver, he came to Oman. He is one of the best speaker in terms of influence, in terms of leadership, and I think this is really important for a small, for medium, for the large company, and for the CEO who attend these forums. And I think they will gain a lot of knowledge, as already we see today in the morning that he spoke about the innovation, and he informed us that the innovation is one of the important part, and the innovation will not come from the CEO or from the higher management, but sometimes it came from even the lower management. So we should take all this kind of information, filterize it properly, and execute it.
The forum is an opportunity for businessmen, senior executives, and owners of companies to benefit from the best global experiences to develop their skills and their organizations.
We are participating here today in this forum basically to learn more about the strategic development techniques which is based on the international standards. Tom Oliver Group is a well-known group around the globe, basically to introduce the recent techniques of strategic planning and effective strategic planning. And I think we thank the Academy for SMEs for bringing such international perspective to Oman, where the CEOs and leaders in the businesses will be able to learn from such international experience.
Over a period of 3 days, the forum will provide a platform for the participants to discuss latest business trends and ways to re-engineer strategies within their institutions for future growth and adding value to the economy. Saleh bin Khalfan Rahbi, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
To the Common News Bulletin. Future Technician Forum introduces programs of colleges of technology to schools students. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. The three-day First Gulf Conference on Autism held in the Sultanate concluded its activities More details in foreign report by Abdullah Rubai.
The first Gulf Autism Conference held in the Sultanate with the participation of over 2,000 people ranging from pediatricians, psychiatrists from general psychiatric specialties and children, other concerned specialists together with families of children with autism concluded its three-day conference.
The conference is amazing, probably one of the best organized conferences, largest I've been to. Amazing speakers and families and professionals. So it's been really exciting. Our goal has been to raise awareness about autism in this region and what we can do to better serve the needs of children and families with autism.
I think as a professional, the expectations of the conference have been very much met because it's been a very good platform for different professionals from different disciplines to meet, whether they're health professionals, educationists, social development, parents, families, academics from Oman, from outside Oman, from the international world. It has also shed the light on what is happening in Oman, the challenges, the gaps, but also the achievements. I mean, one of the things that we are very proud of today that at least we have screening. We have a national screening for autism at primary healthcare, which is something maybe very few countries in the world have. It also identified the gaps and what we need to do more.
The conference aimed at establishing a common understanding of autism between ministries in Oman and regional neighbors on current approaches for measuring and diagnosing children with autism spectrum disorder, ASD, identify needs and gaps in the literature and practice of caring for autistic children, identify best ways to advocate for better care of children with autism, as well as review legislation in Oman and neighboring countries on the protection of children with autism and other disabilities. The conference came out with some recommendations, including developing an integrated Gulf policy for ASD and other developmental disorders, improving current local and Gulf ASD strategies, enabling the parents of children with ASD on how to deal with those children and the rehabilitation methods.
I am really amazed about this conference because I didn't expect this amount of people to be attending. Actually, it's a positive sign that now in our region we start to be more aware about autism and what do we need to do. So I think this conference is coming as a good step, a very positive one towards what should be done regarding awareness, education, and what is the rights for children and people with autism.
First of all, I wanted to thank the organizers for inviting me. It was actually a very pleasant surprise. I'm quite impressed by the organization and also by the collection of the speakers. The speakers are very highly qualified and competent, and it's a great way to network and communicate with other people in the region, especially among the GCC countries, and to share technology, to share knowledge and our experiences.
Dr. Watfa Al-Ma'mariya, Senior Pediatric Consultant at Sultan Qaboos University Hospital and head of the scientific committee of the conference, pointed out that the international estimations of the WHO indicate that the prevalence of autism reaches approximately 1 per 100 inhabitants, which shows that about 64,000 children are having autism in the Gulf area. She added that the prevalence of other developmental disorders such as intellectual disabilities, learning disabilities, along with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, is still not specified. The estimates shows that about 17% of children are expected to have developmental disorders with varying degrees of intensity. In Oman, the first study, which conducted 7 years ago, indicated that 1.4 among 10,000 Omani children having autism before establishing the institutions of evolutionary medicine. For this reason, a national autism and developmental disorders program launched in the Sultanate. Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubai, Sultanate of Oman Television.
In line with the economic transformation witnessed by the world in the field of a green economy, the German University of Technology, UTAG, celebrated the inauguration of Oman Hydrogen Center as first research center aimed to accelerate the process of adopting green energy to Oman economy. The center will adopt hydrogen as alternative energy to a sustainable economy, which will open new horizons to intensify its use in the Omani market. The inauguration ceremony was presided over by Her Excellency Dr. Azza bint Sliman Al Ismailiya, Minister of Technology and Communications. Introducing school students to the fields of their studies in the colleges of technologies and supply them with latest information and skills topped the activities of Future Technician Forum, which was organized by the Ibra College of Technology in cooperation with Omani Network for Research Council and Education. The program of the forum, which was also organized by the National Center, Career Center at the Directorate of Education in the Governorate of North Sharqiya, targeted the students from grades 6 to 11. The training program included programming of mobile phone applications, Arduino, robotax, computer maintenance, English language, and electronic publications, in addition to the photography. The forum will continue until the end of the current month. To familiarize investors and potential customers with fish wholesale market, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth held a seminar for the fishery sector entrepreneurs in the Dakhiliya Governorate. All details from a report by Saleh bin Khalfan Rahbi.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth organized a seminar on fish wholesale markets for the investors and entrepreneurs of the fisheries sector in a Dakhiliya Governorate.
This kind of workshops work to enhance the awareness of the importance of our fisheries wholesale markets around the country, especially the ones who are located inside the fishing harbors. Those wholesale markets play an important role in our fisheries marketing chain inside the country.
The seminar included several working papers focusing on establishing fish wholesale markets and providing an opportunity for entrepreneurs wishing to invest in the fisheries sector.
The workshop gathers a group of our investors in wholesale markets, also some potential customers, and link them together in this workshop. There's a big potential to invest in such wholesale markets. We believe that our fisheries landings in the country is huge, and chaining them through those wholesale markets and offering fish to bidders and handling them in a way to preserve the quality of the products and also to ensure the transparent sale of such products to potential customers.
The participants and attendees were acquainted with direct communication means between investors of fish wholesale markets and the shop and hotel owners, and the job opportunities that this sector will offer for the Omani youth.
The endeavor here is also to raise the purchasing power of the wholesale fish markets in the fishing ports across the Sultanate. Saleh bin Khalfan Rahbi, Wilaya of Nizwa, Dakhiliya Governorate.
According to statistics of the Ministry of Tourism, the total visitors of the scientific center in Ras Al Jins in the Niaba of Ras Al Had in the Wilayah Al Sur during last year reached around 70,000. The ministry pointed out that during the nesting period of turtles in Ras Al Had last year recorded the highest number of visitors in 10 years due to the attractive components of the Niaba that make it one of the important touristic destinations in the Sultanate. The ministry clarified that the Niaba included a number of hotels and motels and camping facilities. This is the Sultan of Oman Television. Before tonight's bulletin, the main points once again. The Oman CEOs Forum discusses the strategic planning and restructuring in Muscat. The Gulf Autism Conference calls for joint Gulf strategy to qualify the parents. And in line with the economy transformation in green energy field, the Oman Hydrogen Center is launched. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin from all of us here in the newsroom in the studios. Thanks for watching. Good night.